back to the Style and Beauty Doctor here on YouTube. And if it's your first time here, welcome. You might be a little confused because you're like, but the thumbnail, but you're not the... This is a series that we do here on the channel where subscribers come on and tell us how they got rid of their hyperpigmentation. And Marcus is up next telling us about... First of all, Marcus made a lot of mistakes. Marcus done did wrong with his skin a couple of times, but the most important thing is that he found his path and he was able to have some major improvements with clearing his hyperpigmentation. So we're gonna hear his story, but also this is a great video to watch or to share if you know someone who has facial hair, because being someone of color and you have facial hair and you're shaving and your grooming routine might be adding to your hyperpigmentation. So Marcus is gonna share some tips on how he got around that, how he improved his skin, because the ingrown hairs can lead to even more hyperpigmentation. It's like you're always on a constant cycle. We're gonna find out what Marcus did, so keep watching. Now, real quick, we're gonna jump right into Marcus's hyperpigmentation story, but I'm gonna need you to subscribe to this channel, because you know you could be watching this channel and not actually be subscribed to it. So I need you to rectify that and then hit that like button, because I think you're gonna like this video, and turn on the notifications. So when videos like this pop up, you don't have to be like, well, when is it coming out? When is it coming out? You'll know, because it'll be right, boom, in your inbox on your notifications. So now, without further ado, tell us about yourself. Like, what caused your hyperpigmentation?
So, it was a lot of things. First, it was pretty much, if I had to narrow it down, it was the environment. And then it was a response to what happened with the environment that made it a lot worse. Okay. So like when I was around the age of 15, I started to notice that my skin would break out during the summertime, during like heat. And I've had pretty decent skin before that, but that was when I started noticing, okay, something's up. And so when I was about 16, or I believe it was 17, I went on a family vacation to Mexico. And maybe about halfway during it, my mother looked at me like, what is going on? Like, I had terrible breakout, terrible. So she ended up booking me a appointment with the dermatologist that day. We hadn't even gotten back to Chicago yet, because she was really, really bad. Yeah. And so I ended up seeing a doctor, and they prescribed me different for the acne. But she didn't really seem too concerned. She was actually more so trying to sell me the cream that she was selling. It was the I don't know if you've heard of it, Journey Day Cream. I think it's by NIOD.
Yeah. No, so, I haven't heard of that one. What does that do?
It's supposed to have, if I remember correctly, like stem cells in it. It was a SPF, but I used that for a while, and that really, I didn't see too many results from it. So then that's when I decided to go the natural route. That started a bad route to go, and I did that. So I went out, I got me black soap, witch hazel, shea butter for my moisturizer, and then peppermint oil, essential oil, 100% peppermint oil.
Wait, Marcus. Oh, continue. Continue.
Yeah, funny enough, I remember that the first, I think it was about first 3 weeks I used black soap. It burned so bad, I would have to sit my face in front of a fan for about 10 minutes after I washed my face. And I just knew pain equals success. Pain equals, I'm just gonna this is gonna be better. And especially since so many people, when you do the research online about black soap, they say it's good enough for babies and it's so good for sensitive skin. So I just thought it's just burning away all my acne, all my dark marks. Little did I know it was making it so much worse.
That's the thing with black soap. It's like, it's not a bad thing, but you have to use it in moderation. If you're using it like twice a day, every day, that can be a little bit too much, because it can be really drying.
Yeah. And I used it for years. And I would even like do probably about 3 coats of witch hazel every day. Anytime I was shining, about 3 times.
But you want to know something? I'm glad that you're saying this because you're clearly not the only person that does that with, that has this experience with using witch hazel and black soap. And you're low-key saving a lot of people's skin right now by telling your story, because I'm sure there's people right now like putting away the witch hazel, like, okay, let me chill.
Definitely. It just wasn't worth it.
Yeah.
I was just so convinced that natural is the way to go. Natural is the way to go. And so probably around, I believe it was either 2018 or 2019, I started to look up YouTube videos and like things like James Welsh, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the point when I had finally gotten my acne in order. So I actually started to see another dermatologist, a really great Black dermatologist here in Chicago, Victoria Barbosa.
Nice.
And she put me on tretinoin.
Mm-hmm.
And she told me to pretty much leave all that natural stuff to the wayside.
Mm-hmm.
So that was when I first noticed, not my final improvement, but my first improvement started from when I started using that, because my acne at least started to dissipate so I could finally work on the hyperpigmentation.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was still using a lot of the popular stuff nowadays, the Ordinary, the peeling solution. And I would go for esthetician given chemical peels, maybe every 2 months, in addition to also tanning a lot with no sunscreen at all. No sunscreen.
You took 2 steps forward to take like 5 steps back, basically.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
I would switch out one good thing, replace it with a bad thing. Because I thought, the tanning would even out my complexion. But what I didn't know is that it fades uneven. And so dark marks would just come back. While it may look good out there, okay, it looks darker, even though I didn't notice how just lifeless my skin was looking from it. I was like, okay, well, it looks pretty even, but then maybe about a few weeks later when the tan would fade, it would be right back. So probably around 2019 and I had been doing good. I was using a lot of good products, but then is when I believe I watched an Alexis Stevens, Dr. Alexis Stevens, one of her videos about inflammation leading to hyperpigmentation. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna take a step back from all these chemical peels. I'm gonna take a step back from all this intense stuff, and I'm gonna replace it with more frequent, gentle exfoliation opposed to shock exfoliation. And in addition to that, I started to focus on really just dealing with my skin on a day-to-day basis. So I feel like a lot of times, at least for me personally, I would have these favorite products, and no matter how my skin is, if I'm irritated, if anything, I'm still gonna use it. I don't care how my skin is, I'm still gonna use the Ordinary peeling solution because I just don't care. I'm gonna use it. So I stopped with that and more so just started to only deal with my skin on a day-to-day basis and really put more emphasis on calming it, leaving it stress-free and happy. And that's when I really started to see results.
What exactly was your routine to get rid of the dark spots?
So I would say the real routine, because I pretty much can divide it up into 2. One when I was kind of getting close, and then one last year when I was like, I feel like I really nailed it, was I started using a salicylic acid cleanser. So SA cleanser, I noticed really just a good amount of fading from that, switching that for the Ordinary peeling solution. I did mugwort essence. Each routine, maybe 2 or 3 layers of that, just keep putting it on to just keep my skin super nice and calm. The Crave Beauty's Great Barrier Relief was amazing. Pretty much just anything to keep my skin calm. And I reduced maybe a moderate exfoliation to about every 3 to 4 weeks. I just cut way down on it.
Yeah.
And then anytime if I would get sick or allergies would give me like inflamed skin, I would just cut it down to the basics.
Okay. Okay. So what would your typical morning routine look like? Like from cleansing to sunscreen, what would that look like?
So my morning routine, I don't cleanse in the morning because I used to have oily skin, but I feel like it's more normal now with
Yes.
all the medication that I'm on. So I would apply a layer of the mugwort. I would my face first, apply the mugwort, and then I would typically apply antioxidant serum, which I've been using for a while by NIOD called Survival Zero.
Okay.
And then I would apply 2 layers of sunscreen actually. So that was the things that I really started to focus on when I'm like, you know what, I have to get these dark marks gone. I made it a personal goal to myself to reapply sunscreen 3 days, 3 times out the day.
Yes.
That's when it like really sped up with the fading. And now I'm just the biggest preacher of sunscreen because I never realized how much it plays a part in the
Which sunscreen did you use?
So I used to use the CeraVe Beach Shield.
Yeah. Oh.
Now I use the ISDIN Ageless.
Oh yes, that's a good one. That's a good one. Wait, that's the tinted one or is that the regular one?
The tinted.
The tinted. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good.
I wanted the extra protection from the iron oxides.
Yes.
So I would pretty much typically just use the mugwort essence, a layer of the beach shield as my moisturizer, and then a sunscreen.
Okay. Well, that sounds like a pretty solid and easy morning skincare routine.
Yeah. I mean, I typically, like most people, like to focus on night. So, you know, I don't want to be loading up so much stuff on my skin. So I try to keep it light in the morning.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll cleanse if it was like I did a lot the night
before. Yeah. So with the ISDIN tinted mineral sunscreen, did you notice any kind of like setbacks with reapplying it through the day? Did it? Because I remember that one being pretty lightweight, so I don't remember it being like much of a big deal. But what was your experience with it?
I love it. I really have loved it. It's pretty lightweight for me. Doesn't give me at least a white cast. So that. But I will use a chemical sunscreen. Typically, I use a chemical sunscreen everywhere because that at least will go into my beard better. And then I'll apply a layer of the ISDIN on top.
Smart.
And that's before I even go out the door. So I actually like 2 layers. I start the day with 2 layers.
Okay. What would your typical nighttime routine be like?
So my typical nighttime routine would be, again, a cleanser, but I always double cleanse. I really like, you know, oil cleansers that have the exfoliants in it, the fruit enzymes in it.
Yeah.
So something like that, especially if I'm clogged up. I used to use the pharmacy.
Okay.
But, I've been switching it up quite a bit lately.
Yeah. Okay.
Use a CeraVe SA cleanser. Then while my skin is still damp, I'll use a vitamin C because I believe that I learned that using a vitamin C after a salicylic acid cleanser helps penetration. So I'll use vitamin C by NIOD. Wait maybe about a minute or 2 for it to sink in, and then I'll go right back into like the mugwort calming situation.
Okay. And then would you follow that up with a moisturizer or what would you do?
Whatever moisturizer I have on hand, typically something here at night. Maybe an oil.
I know you said you use any moisturizer that you had on hand, but like which ones would you typically have around?
So the one that I used quite a bit was CosRx. It's the nourishing overnight spa mask, but it's light. It's really usable. I use it as a moisturizer.
Yeah.
But if my skin was really irritated, I would just load up on Great Barrier Relief since that's more moisturizer.
Okay. So it sounds like, so if I were to summarize everything, it sounds like, you know, you did some of the typical mistakes that people make. You're not the only one who makes the mistakes where you think like overdoing it with the exfoliation and the actives is gonna like speed up the process. But then, unlike a lot of people, you actually learn pretty quickly that like this is not the move. Let me switch on, move on to something else. You did consult some dermatologists. Sound like you had some, pretty decent experiences with the dermatologist. But then you realize through like watching a Dr. Alexa Stevens video that it was the inflammation that was leading to your hyperpigmentation. So you kind of dialed it back and wanted to kind of like really focus on calming your skin, dialing back on the exfoliation, upping the ante on the sunscreen, and just being like, it seems like you went from like maybe having a lot to maybe having a few, fewer things in your skincare routine. And that's where you kind of saw the results, right? Is that a good summary of what happened?
I think so, definitely.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I still have a lot of things to choose from, but I've learned that everything isn't for every day.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
if I take a foundation on keeping my skin as calm as possible, then incorporate this exfoliant or this irritant.
Yeah.
And I also noticed a very big improvement with just letting my facial hair grow out maybe every 3 to 4 months, because I typically am pretty clean shaven, but that's causing a lot of hyperpigmentation.
Yeah, yeah,
Really
yeah.
bad. So just letting my skin kind of breathe every now and then.
Yeah. Would you say, so you said your skin your skin was oilier before, but you would say it's probably more on a balanced, normal side now. Would you consider your skin to be sensitive though?
Honestly, I wouldn't. On a normal day,
Okay.
I'm on a tazorotine.
Yes.
I'm switching to tretinoin now, but currently I'm on tazorotine. So sometimes if I overdo it with that, it is, a little sensitized. And for whatever weird reason, every time I have something like a flu, it's my entire moisture barrier just breaks down. No matter what I do to try to keep it and prevent it, it just goes poof.
Yeah, it throws something off whack in your body. Maybe there's something like with the hormones or something. It kind of like interferes with your skin. Yeah. How long would you say it took from like the pictures that you sent, the before pictures to the after pictures? About how much time would you say it took to kind of like treat everything?
So from the picture that I sent, that was about 2 years.
Okay.
But a lot of that really didn't start fading for real until maybe about the last 6 to 8 months to right now.
Yeah.
So it was very, very slow for most of my hyperpigmentation journey because I just didn't realize what I was doing. But during COVID, when I really was just like, I'm just gonna calm everything down, that's when it just sped up like crazy.
What would you say were some of the biggest like setbacks throughout your routine, throughout your journey rather?
Well, just not really understanding, I guess, what my skin needed. So, like, of course, a lot of the tanning was a setback. I also used to really like saunas and steam rooms. Didn't realize heat was making well. I would just say probably just every time I would be frustrated with my skin and get to either picking it or get to just over exfoliating. Like I would make some days later 3 or 4 different exfoliating products at once.
Wow.
Because I just knew, like I said, pain was success.
Yeah.
Act opposite.
Now I know this video isn't particularly about like a grooming routine, but since we have so few men on the channel, it would behoove me to not ask you about like your shave care routine, because you did mention that you stopped being so clean shaven because it would lead to other issues. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so at least with me, I can't shave with a razor. I will get micro pimples everywhere for about 2 or 3 weeks. So I typically shave with the razor. But what I noticed was that shaving with the razor, and my dermatologist would recommend that I shave twice a day with with clippers. What I would typically do. But I noticed that over time, I would get more ingrown hairs, no matter how much I would try to, get them out or whatever care I would apply to it. So that's when I started noticing, you know what, I'm gonna just grow my facial hair out for at least 3 weeks or 4 weeks at a time. And then I shaved it off after that. It was like new skin. So much of it had, the darkness had faded and the texture was smoothed out. The bumps were gone. So I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna keep doing this. So I will go maybe about 2 months just shaving as normal, and then next 3 weeks just let it grow out and just do a reset.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe I'm a little ignorant to like shaving. So like basically you would line it up so that it would look neat as like your maintenance, but then you wouldn't shave it off until like maybe 3 or 4 weeks later. Is that right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And then I would to shaving with the clippers 1 to 2 times a day.
What do you use? Like which clippers? What do you use? Any kind of solution?
No, pretty much just whatever I could get at Walmart, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I load up with, I would try to, put my skincare products down and with a lot of facial oil.
A facial oil. Any in particular?
Yes, it is the CBD facial oil by Herbivore.
Okay. So essentially you would shave, so you obviously wet your skin. Would you put something, maybe like a cleanser or something on before you shave, or what would you use?
Yeah, so I would actually use the salicylic acid cleanser.
Okay.
I felt really good with keeping the ingrown hairs at bay.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense because it's an exfoliant too. Yeah. And then after you were done shaving, you would put facial oil on?
I would pretty much use the same moisturizer in my beard, pretty much, that I put on my face. And then few extra drops of the facial oil, and then comb that through, get it distribute as I possibly can, and then that would pretty much be it.
How far along is this? Is this look? Is this like where are you at with the last time you shaved?
It's been about 3 weeks, so I'm probably gonna shave time this week.
Yeah, it looks really good. So you just kind of line it up a little bit, and then you can go.
Yep, go to the barber, had him line it up because I'm type of stuff.
Yeah.
Pretty much it. Yeah, because it's just too much irritation. My skin would hurt all day, every day, whether I shaved it or not. It would just hurt. So it really started off with just being in pain. I wasn't even really trying to cure the hyperpigmentation with it. But then I shaved it off the first time is when I noticed, like, wow, it looks so much better. I even noticed that at the top of my neck where hair grows, it's like darkness at the top of my neck versus the bottom. I used to think, oh, well, this must be because of the winter and I'm covered up. But then I realized, no, this stops where the hair stops. So it was the darkness was 100% caused by just hair.
Hyperpigmentation is that thing that is just like, no matter what you do, sometimes it's like, here I am,
Yeah.
Are you on social media, YouTube or anything like that where people can follow you?
Not really. I have a bakery here in Chicago.
You have
a bakery that I run with my mother here in Chicago.
Yeah, plug it, please. We need to know.
Signature Sweets Factory.
Okay.
Yep, custom orders. Right now we're doing a lot of like grocery store cookies, things like that. But it's run business here.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on the channel because it's great to hear different perspectives when it comes to treating hyperpigmentation, especially a male perspective, because I personally feel like I don't see it enough. So I'm glad to be able to bring it here on the channel, and I can't wait to have some of the bakery treats because like all of a sudden now I'm like, can you send it overnight? I'm just joking.
Thank you. I really appreciate you having me on your channel. It's just such a wealth of knowledge, especially for skin of color. And how much different it really is than, like just Caucasian skin. So I really appreciate all the information that I've learned from your channel.
Thank you so much. Amazing. Thank you, Marcus, again for sharing your story. And also, if you're in the Chicago area, I need y'all to go to that bakery because everything sounds so delicious. So I will link that information in the description box for you to check it out. Anything that he mentioned that he used, I will link it in the description box. So if you wanted to kind of check those products out, it's all there. Also in the description box, you will find links where you can follow me on social. I'm all around the internet when I'm not here on YouTube. So make sure you follow along, you know, on the Instagram and TikTok. I also have a blog. Make sure you check that out. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.